Facing your Goliath, Israel was at war with the Philistines, a conflict designed not just to defeat them, but to humiliate them and control them. And just like the Philistines sought to dominate Israel, the devil seeks to dominate us, to control, destroy, and ultimately lead us to spiritual death. The Philistines were a powerful army, but their greatest weapon wasn't their soldiers. It was their giant, Goliath, a towering figure whose very presence sent waves of fear through Israel's camp. Every day, Goliath stepped forward, taunting Israel, mocking them, daring them to send a man to fight him. He even set the terms of the battle, confident that Israel didn't stand a chance. 1 Samuel 17:4. Why was Israel so unprepared? Because their leader, Saul, relied on human strength instead of the strength of the Lord. And when you rely on flesh, fear becomes your master. We too will face Goliaths in our lives, giants of fear, addiction, doubt, sickness, temptation, and spiritual warfare. This story reminds us, do not rely on your own strength. Seek God, trust Him, pray for deliverance from the enemy's snares. While Israel trembled, God was already working behind the scenes. He sent David, a young shepherd boy, to bring food to his brothers. But instead of gratitude, David was met with hostility.
His oldest brother, Eliab, accused him of being mischievous, of abandoning his responsibilities, of coming only to watch the battle.
Sometimes when you show up to help, people will misunderstand your intentions. They will mistake your kindness for foolishness because they don't carry the Spirit of God within them.
Eliab didn't know the facts. He didn't care to know. Yet he judged David harshly.
But here's the truth. God's purpose will always be fulfilled through the person He chooses. God doesn't think like man thinks. He doesn't look at outward appearance. He examines the heart, the character of a person. A strong connection with God gives us discernment so we can judge righteously and avoid the trap of superficial thinking. David knew his God. He knew the battle belonged to the Lord. He looked at Goliath and called him what he was, an uncircumcised Philistine. 1 Samuel 17:26. A man outside of covenant with God. David's boldness spread quickly. Word reached Saul, and soon David stood before the king. Imagine it. A youth standing before an entire army of grown men, telling them to relax, to release their fear, because he would fight the Philistine. Saul doubted him. He saw only a boy, but God saw a warrior, a young man with faith, integrity, and courage who could face any giant and win. David shared his testimony, how he killed a lion and a bear. 1 Samuel 17:37. He had experience, he had strategy, he had skill, but most importantly, he had God. Saul tried to arm him with royal armor, but David removed it. He discerned it wasn't necessary. He didn't need man's protection when he already had God's covering. David stepped onto the battlefield with nothing but a staff, a sling, and 5 smooth stones. Goliath mocked him. He cursed him by his gods. But David wasn't moved. He was on a divine assignment. He stayed focused on God, knowing the Lord would perform a miracle that would prove His power to all who watched. And God did exactly that. David triumphed over Goliath because God gave him the victory. David's character and skill brought him before the king, but his faith brought him the victory. So let me ask you, is there a king, a leader, a decision maker, a person of influence that God has destined for you to stand before? This year, go and find them. Show up with boldness. Demonstrate the power of God through your witness. Bring solutions to problems that seem impossible. Step into unfamiliar territory and trust God to give you strategies to secure victory. Because the same God who empowered David is ready to empower you to defeat your Goliath.